Okay, I want to do a part 2 to yesterday's video of those 14 things that I was demystifying and common horse training practices or concepts or ideas. And I've got some great feedback from Kathy. So let's start with number 1, which is on point number 12, which was better to send a horse into a trailer using forward motion rather than standing in the trailer yourself. The follow-up to that is sending into a trailer. I meant to give a picture of a horse being led into it by an outstretched hand on a lead rope, no pressure from behind, so it's more of a leading and not a driving exercise. Not true. So, and I'll tell you what, I'll help bring this through. So what I've got here is an Annie, and she's been doing some saddle training. We've been doing a pile of saddle training. And I really want to explain what it means when we sort of ask them to go somewhere without going. Now, Annie has drawn into me. So she's in the way right now, so you can't see. So if I'm doing this, it doesn't mean anything to her. But what I might do is provide a little bit of energy and send her around. And you see, my feet aren't moving, but she's going. But this is a driving exercise. It is not a drawing exercise or a leading exercise because I'm not leading. And while it does look, potentially leading, I'm going to lead her over here, but it isn't. I'm not leading her there. And it's good to differentiate these two ideas of leading and driving, or drawing and driving. Because what's happening, or what should be happening even in our own heads and definitely in theirs, when I ask Annie to go, I'm placing all of my thoughts and my energy out. And pretty soon they're going to go to her. She knows that. She knows that this is a driving exercise. It's an invitation with consequences. So if I say, hey, Annie, I need you over there. Now I'm going to shake my rope just the tiniest amount. Okay. But what that is it's really just a habit, and we might practice that up on these stairs, where I'll say, I really need you up here. Come around. You come around the wrong way. Okay, so I'm asking a lot. I'm not leading. And he says she's a little low. I want her all the way back around. All the way back around. Okay, I'm going to relax my right hand, but my energy is still sending out. I'm still sending. Yeah. And now I'll draw. Now I'm drawing her towards me. This should be a totally different feel, a totally different way of thinking. Okay, so she's gone past. I'm going to invite her out there, say, hey, I really need you out that way. And she'll say, okay, but I'm still ready with a still ready with a bit of a driving energy to it as well. So draw her back. She's gone too far. I'll drive her out with an invitation. Not a lot of pressure, but it's still pressure. Now I'm drawing, and I'm still drawing. Good. So that should look different. And that drawing and driving is vital to differentiate in our own minds, because it is different to them, and how we're going to go about sending a horse somewhere, or how we're going to end up drawing a horse or having a horse come towards where we are. But into a trailer, yes, ideally, we do want to be able to say, hey, can you just go in that trailer? I don't want to go in there. Go on, get in the trailer. Go on, off you go into the trailer. And they'll go into that trailer. Compared to being in the trailer and say, hey, come in the trailer with me. We're still driving them though. But yes, ideally, it is very handy to be able to just send them into the trailer. I don't know what you're going to do after that. You still got to get the lead off and stuff, but it's a handy thing to have. But I've seen a lot of people do it to where the horse just wasn't ready. He wasn't ready and just jumps back out or turns around really quickly or backs out really quickly. It's a dangerous situation. So yes, in the long term, we do want to be able to do that. But in the end, they've got to feel absolutely, utterly safe to be in there. Otherwise, you'll never get them in. You'll really just be... there was a video a long time ago that I saw where a lady had just... It was local too. She had this wiffle bat. She was trying to beat her horse into the trailer because she didn't want to go in. So it's a little bit of that human fear. Yeah, it's a small space. You don't want to be in there with a horse. But if what we want to do as horse owners and horse trainers, which if you're an owner, you're a trainer, is get it to where both of you not just the horse. If you don't feel safe in there, why should they? So that's sort of the idea. Okay, for the next one, it's point number 4, make your idea their idea. So Kathy says, making your idea their idea. Let's say the horse likes to do something dangerous. Each time space is invaded, for example, you back them up and drive them around you. Can be done in the stable, interrupting his peace. And soon he'll stop on his own and the exercise of leading or whatever begins again. The idea is to give pressure when there's unwanted behavior with praise after the stop and release of pressure. The horse will then prefer to do the behavior that provides peace. I don't think this has anything to do with making your idea their idea. I don't think that there is any use whatsoever of when a horse is doing something like, hey, stop eating my blanket, get moving. I have absolutely no use for the concept anymore. I used to use it, that I need to make my horse move its feet all over the place to take it out of whatever mode it's in. If I want my horse to calm down and stop doing things, that's what I'll ask for. So if Annie was pushing into me, say she was coming into me like this, I'm just going to draw her in. Say she was coming in and I'm like, hey, you're getting in my space. Absolutely, I would say, hey, you need to step out of my space. Now chill out. Find a calm place to be. You know, put your head down a little bit or something like that. Or here, let me give you a scratch. I want to take their mind off of the idea they have, but I really don't have any concept of how I would make my idea their idea. And I don't think that the idea that we should, hey, don't come over this way. I don't want to scratch you. Back up. Thanks. She's going to come this way to ask for the, anyways. The concept, I think it's just, it's an old and archaic idea of dealing with horses that have something else on their mind. So right now, somebody might be like, oh, you shouldn't do it. I mean, you really shouldn't let your horse rub on you. But somebody would say, you need to move that horse around. You need to move its feet. If it's freaking out, you need to move its feet and take its attention off, make your idea their idea. I mean, it is so prevalent in the horse world. It's hard to beat back down. But I can't stress enough that it is absolutely not the answer. The answer is to get them to be as chill as you. If you bring up the energy, you're absolutely going to be able to make your idea their idea. Look, Annie, go. Look, go, 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 go. Look, I made my idea their idea. And it just isn't. I mean, it's almost impossible to define and I just backed it up from the last video I did about how on earth you quantify that you've changed their mind to your idea. Because really, you're just going to pester them until they do your idea. And that is just coercion, simple coercion. You might as well just call it that. I think that is a much better definition than the soft, fluffy way of like, oh, look, I can't fall for it. I know what it is. I know what I'm doing. You're going to give no other option than the option you want. Let's call it what it is. So hopefully that clears that up. So it's two different things, actually, that if a horse is doing something that you don't want, you can just say, hey, can you please stop doing what that is? Just hang out with me quiet. Bring your energy. I'm covering a different topic now, but bring your energy down. Bring your thoughts down. Come down into the center of here so that the horse comes down into the center of here. And pretty soon they just fall asleep next to you rather than bringing everybody's energy up, your own, theirs. Everybody gets stressed. It's just another thing that they have to deal with where you won't shut up. So I guess if anything, if I were to make any idea my own, it would probably be something like, hey, can you chill out with me? Because I just want some peace and quiet. And they might say, I like peace and quiet. But it doesn't mean that my idea became their idea. They just happen to like the same idea because horses are very peaceful and quiet. So, hopefully that answers that. Okay, so for number 10, Kathy has a follow-up. Essentially, it was the one where having their shoulders and hindquarters move away nicely when you're having them come around to drive them around you, and move that exercise to have them go forward between you and a wall or a fence to keep closing the gap to test progress. Yeah, this is, so she says, she follows up with just a test to see if you've established enough trust that he doesn't freak out, just needs more practice, grouped with desensitization. And it's true. There's a lot of times where we're going to want a horse to come by something. So I'll lead and then I'll drive. So there's the stairs. Annie says, no problem going between the stairs. And I'll have her come through the other way. So I'm just sending her around. Now, I don't think that there's a lot of purpose to this. particular exercise because mostly it's just dangerous. If you're going to put something possibly scary on the other side and you're here, you really have to then be thinking about how much scarier you can be than the object you're kind of squeezing them through. So I don't have a lot of purpose for that. What I do have a lot of purpose for is getting them through a squeezy spot. So come here, Annie. So for example, I'm going to lead Annie through these two barrels. Okay, come on. So I'm just drawing. She's a little resistant. Come on, you're not going to bump much. Look at that. Okay, you made it. All right. So we're going to lead through again. And this is where I would have a purpose to figuring out whether or not I have some ability to do something in sort of a squeezy, scary space. Come on, Annie. It's no big deal. Okay. And so the first thing I would do is just draw through. But I have no purpose for me to be in the danger zone, so I'm going to send Annie through without me. And this is where my drive will kind of come in. Go. Go on, get through. Come on. There we go. So I just keep up just a tick of power here. So I'll bring it up. Come on through. Good. Okay, but I don't need to be here. This to me would be an incredibly dangerous place to be. If she's going to bump against anything, it's probably going to be me. And if I'm going to put myself in that position, I mean, I can't think of a good reason to do that. So I don't have a lot of purpose for that particular exercise. What you want to do is you want to place the thing that's kind of dangerous in between you and the horse. If they're scared of something, you want them to go past. So Annie's going to keep her nose in. Go through this way. Go through this way. You see her nose stays in for this process. So I have good draw for the exercise. So I don't know if that helps. It's a hard one to clarify exactly because I don't have any real good use for the exercise you're explaining. If a horse is going to go through a thing with you on one side and that thing on the other, and their head is going to go away from you, it means they're probably more comfortable with telling you what to do than the thing that they're scared of because they're more set up to have that hip and leg come over just in case you're going to do something. So I would imagine more that the training methods used are one that has caused the horse concern, and you're reiterating some, I don't know. See, it doesn't, I can't even compute it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It just wouldn't have a purpose for that. Yeah. I mean, say for example, there's a table here. If I want Annie to go through here and she was a little worried about that table, I would make space. I'd be like, I know you're worried about the table. And I would just send her through, and I might even kind of go with her a little and then draw through this way. And say, here, come back through. Right? And I'll draw through this way so that she's constantly thinking of coming in. I don't know if that helps. It's really obscure to me. Clarify again, I'm happy to answer. Okay, and then the last one was about giving breaks. Take breaks often to allow the horse to take in what he's learned. And she says, giving breaks after half an hour or so, as long as you end on a good note. It seems that once consistent respect of space is achieved, after breaks of 15 minutes or so, they don't lose ground. Whether or not they are thinking about things as a guess, since it's pretty much accepted that the reward should be given after 3 seconds of good behavior. Wow. I guess we need a stopwatch for training horses here. I don't know about the 3 second thing. I think that, come here, stay away from my brushes. I think, sure, yeah, okay, if somebody is determined 3 seconds, then so be it. But I think just immediately. Good job. The breaks concept, the way I sort of connect it in my head for training wise, like I could probably work with Annie for hours. She is always calm. She's always kind of quiet. I think the people, again, I'll reiterate, I think the horses and the people that are working with a horse to do something need those breaks because they're doing a lot. If you're just doing a little bit, then you're just doing a lot of a little bit, and you can do that consistently for a long time. And the reason I connect that is because I watch the horses play together, and none of them really need a break. None of them say, stop playing unless they're kind of hungry or thirsty or something like that. But usually they want to hang around with each other. And it means that the relationship that they have is a little bit symbiotic. You know, obviously we look at them and they think one's learning from the other or one's teaching the other. And I think that is the case. So it shouldn't be much different. If we're looking for breaks, it's probably more for us than them, for our own mental capabilities and our own beliefs of what we think is happening. Outside of, again, doing too much and freaking them out too much and using too much energy. But otherwise, horses, they're so pattern based. They are happy to just you know, hang out with you if you're a best friend. You could be doing the same thing over and over again, and they'll be fine. They won't need that 15-minute thing or whatever. That's just my idea. That's the way I've been working on it. The things that I do with them are less, and then the break concept is really just like, well, I've kind of had enough, and you're good. And yes, if you end on a good note, fantastic. That is the best way to end things. So a lot of times when you do too much, you won't end on that good note because you kind of pushed a little bit too hard, missed a lot of things in between. That's why they're freaking out. I think. I mean, that's an ideal situation, I suppose. So hopefully that covers it all. If not, of course, let me know. That's what this channel is about. This channel is about being able to go back and forth with questions and then answers to the questions and answers to those questions or reaffirming some thoughts. And it helps me as well. It helps me sort of talk out some of those things that I think about when I'm doing this. And he's getting a little playful. With little baby teeth. Good luck with that. Good girl. Okay, that's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.